I go by Murugi Munyi, artist formerly known as Joanne Obwaka, known as Yummy Mami, which I rebranded from, of course. Who am I? I'm a content creator, I'm a social media influencer, I'm a podcaster, I'm an entrepreneur, Wild by Murugi. The podcast that I co-host is called TMI Podcast KE, one of the top 5 podcasts in the country. I'm also a mom of 3 beautiful children, 1 adorable little boy and 2 adorable little girls. And I am married to the love of my life, Zach. Yeah, so that's what I do. That's who I am. I grew up in a family of 6. I have 3 sisters. I'm the second born. I always feel like I have second born energy, by the way. As middle children, we all just kind of are the same. So I'm a second born. I have an older sister and 2 younger sisters. I grew up with my mom and my dad, just an ordinary-ish family, I would say. I went to primary in Makini, and then I got a scholarship, got to go and study at Brookhouse, and I did my high school there. And then I went to St. Mary's School for IB, which was a really nice experience. Honestly, I really loved my time at St. Mary's. And then I decided to go to USIU to study international relations, which was fantastic. I think I cleared in 2012. So I went to the University of Cape Town. I did my postgrad degree, and then I came back home. And my postgrad degree, by the way, was in justice and transformation. And remember, my first degree was international relations. So I really thought that I would be like, I wanted to work for like USAID, UN, you know, like Save the Children, things like that. Only to come back and realize that my jobs, they're not just available, they're not just there. I looked for opportunities, but I found that many of these international organizations, either they want you to be on internship, or you're earning really low for your entry level. And at that time, I had gotten my son when I was 19 years old, first year, first sem of university. Yani I was that girl. First year, first sem, I had my son. So by the time I was coming back from South Africa, my son was around 4, 5 there. And obviously, as a single mom, I mean, for the single moms who are here, they would know that it costs a lot of money to raise your child. I mean, his father was present and he was somewhat supportive, but I needed money. I basically could not afford to have a job where I'm earning 30K or 20K, because what am I doing with 30K or 20K? So I started looking for other opportunities, and I got a good opportunity at a tobacco company. And it was something to do with communications, which at that time, I didn't even know that I was passionate about communications, but somehow the person who was hiring me was just like, we can tell that you're really good at communicating. And so my career started in communications, and somehow I found that I fell in love with it, like communicating. I like to talk. Actually, you can just already tell. I talk really fast. I talk a lot. My husband will tell you that is his biggest struggle in our marriage. I love talking. I love communicating. I love being able to express myself, and I do that a lot through visual media and a lot of speaking. So even things like public speaking, it just comes very naturally to me. So I worked there for a while, and then I moved. I went to a communications agency, a PR agency. I did that for a while. And then I moved to a betting company, and I worked in PR and communications. And then I moved to a pharmaceutical company. I worked as their head of marketing. So all this was all around communications, PR, marketing. And while I was working I think it was when I was at the agency that I started, when I got my second born daughter, who's Mukeni, now she's 5. That's when I started posting a lot on social media. So I didn't start it off as like, I want this to be my career. I want to be influencer. Honestly, at that point, I don't even think I had like that view of like influencers make money. But me, I just started it because I was pregnant, and then of course my firstborn was about 6 years old. So it felt like I was doing motherhood like afresh. I just didn't know anything, and I was struggling to find content creators in Kenya who are moms who are sharing openly about their struggles to do with motherhood. And I was just like, wow, they are not there. So I said, okay, even me, let me just share, so that if there's a mom out there who is going through these same things, who is struggling with breastfeeding, who is struggling with how much are diapers costing, who is struggling with just the day-to-day, we are not sleeping, what, you're having issues with your husband, when was the last time you had sex, you just, things are just not working, so I started posting, and that's the point. I think I realized people were following me, people were like interacting with my content. I had many women who are saying, wow, yeah, I relate to that. This is so authentic in terms of the way I would create my content, because I never used to feel like I need to separate my actual life experiences versus what I'm actually posting. I would just post whatever it is that I'm feeling, whatever it is I'm going through. And so slowly that grew. And I think by the time it was November 2018, that's the point at which I was like, hiya, I can actually make good money from being a content creator and being an influencer. And so I decided to quit my job, all thanks to my husband, because I was like, babe, me, I'm going to quit and try this thing. But it backfire. By the way, you're the one supporting us, babe, you're the one supporting us. And he had so much faith. He's a very traditional-ish guy. So even him, he was not understanding these things, that he saw, so you're posting a picture and you're being paid to post this picture. Are you sure? Are you serious? Even his mom till today, I don't think she understands what I do, because she's always like, Auntie, just explain to me. So I just tell her, I'm doing advertising. That's what I tell her. And it's been fantastic. My platform has grown. I've been able to work with so many brands that I believe in, that I love. And for me, it's like I was crossing my fingers and I was telling God, God, come with me. Let's go and try this thing. And I'm glad that it paid off. And social media is such a growing platform, especially in like developing countries. We are not even the billion-dollar industries that they are in the UK, but we are growing and people are earning money. And it's fantastic every day. And so that's what I've been doing since 2018, full-time. Last year, I tuliungana mikono with a friend of mine called Lydia. We decided to start a podcast. Podcasting is one of the greatest growing platforms in Africa, by the way. It grows so fast, almost the same as YouTube, but even faster. So we decided to start a podcast. It's called The Messy In Between Podcast, TMI Podcast KE, and we've had amazing success. It's been a year and a quarter now, and we have been nominated for awards. We have reached over 100,000 subscribers across our YouTube and our Instagram, and it's moving really, really well. So we're really happy with that platform. And then 2 months ago, I decided to open this store, Wild by Murugi. And the reason for that is because I always loved fashion. I've always loved fashion, and specifically plus size fashion. One of the things I hear on my platform all the time is that, after seeing how you dress, now I feel confident to wear something tight. I feel confident to wear a crop top, because my message on my platform is just like, don't wait for the day you're going to become thin for you to dress how you want. Me, I'm like, I'll dress how I want, no matter, because my body is my body. Now I'm not getting another one to do. I've been trying to lose weight since 2002, and I'm still fat. So what is going to happen? I'm just like, itabidi tu start tutavaa nguo zenye tutavaa, And so because of that, so many times I find myself telling people will see what I wear, and I'm like, oh, go and buy it from that brand, go and buy it from that brand. Then I was like, why am I sending people? Me, I don't want to be rich. Why am I making other people rich? So I decided to just start my own place where people can come and shop what I like. And so far, it's been amazing. It's been 2 months now, and the traffic has been great. The reception has been amazing. The support has been overwhelming, and we're looking forward to growing to greater and greater heights. So the one thing that I would say I'm most passionate about, and which I feel stretches across everything that I do and touch, is empowering women, which I know sounds like such a great thing, but I mean it just like in my own little way. Just like I've mentioned, many women will come to my page and say, wow, after seeing how you live your life, I feel like you've given me permission to just be confident and be loud and be assertive and say what I want and go after what I want. For me, the thought of women out there who maybe they feel stifled, they feel victimized, they feel like they don't have the power. That for me is like the saddest thing. I want when people either come to my store or interact with me or interact with my content to feel some sort of empowerment, whether it's sharing information regarding, contraception and childbirth and marriage and, parenting, anything that helps them make better decisions for their own lives. That's what I'm really passionate about. I want women to come in here and wear clothes that make them feel confident, that make them feel empowered, and the whole element of just knowing that you're not a victim, and that it is women's turn to shine. I feel like men, they have been fighting for years and years and decades. Now is our time to shine, And for me, really just working with women, even if it's, I know I get many women who write to me about like their life issues. Someone will be like, oh, I'm going through this with my husband, I'm going through this with my kids, I need help with this, and responding to them and knowing that when I go online, even if it's one person I've talked to or 3 people I've talked to, the fact that I made a difference in that person's life, that's really, where my heart lies. And I'm hoping that over time I'll be able to maybe start a foundation or something like that to be able to respond more directly to women's needs, whether it's financial, whether it's, jobs and things like that, or a place where they can come and feel safe and feel heard. That's really what I want to do with my life. okay, if I was to split it up in like maybe let's education and then in corporate and then now, throughout education, I never really struggled with education. Maybe my challenge came when I got my son when I was 19, because I was still in university. Yeah? So of course, being a really young mom, of course, feeling like, okay, you went to university and first sem, you've already gotten pregnant, feeling like I'm a failure, feeling like I've let my parents down. I feel like at that point, I don't know if I would call it a challenge, but maybe it was like, for me, it put extra pressure on me. So I really didn't want to be like just a number, just they are one of the many single mothers who have kids when they're young and their lives amount to nothing. I really wanted to make something of myself, make something of my life, so that my son could also see like, okay, mom is strong, she's powerful, you know. And I'm really glad that I was able to overcome those challenges, because I know the single mother pandemic, as they like to call it, is so intense right now. But I would love for women to come on my platform and be able to see that she was a single mother and she overcame the challenges. She raised her child, she got a good job, she made something of herself. She later on met the love of her life, married him, and had 2 other children. You know that the story doesn't have to end at you had your baby when you were young and the guy disappeared. It can be more than that. Challenges in my career, I would say that before I joined social media, I think my career was one of like, it's almost like I was fighting the whole time. I think all along, my husband knew that I'm such a free spirit, a free soul. I really don't like to be boxed into 9 to 5 or, until like now you're working. Like for me, I'm always there. If I'm sitting there working for the gambling company, I'm just like, so now what is the end of all of this? Like, so now what is the purpose for which we are doing this, And I remember all through while I was working, I just kept saying, okay, me, I know I'm here for money. Me, I wasn't there for anything else. Me, I was there for money. And I'm like, you see your child, you need to buy diapers. So now you can't be out here saying, oh, I just want to be an influencer, please. You need to get money for those diapers and that formula, But I am so glad that God gave me the opportunity to be able to do what I'm doing right now, because never in my wildest dreams would I imagine that I'm able to live the life I'm living now just from being myself online. Because really, it's not like, this is not rocket science, being an influencer. Anyone with a phone can be an influencer or content creator. All it takes is consistency. All it takes is creating good, authentic content that other people can relate to. And so for me, being able to do this, which is just, to me, it literally didn't feel like work. It just feels like, this feel like hobbies to me. But the fact that I'm able to earn money, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, where? Hey, wow. Thank you, mom, for tithing when you were young, because that's why I'm here today, honestly, because I feel like, there must have been some serious prayers that went behind this, This is one of those areas which I feel like I haven't really tapped into as much. I wouldn't say that I have like mentors in my personal space, but there are women who I definitely look up to, who I feel are really doing the best in their field. Someone like Oprah. Oprah, she has one of the biggest, actually, like media houses, and she's just started as a talk show host, not just a talk show host, but she started as a talk show host, and she was able to grow it to greater heights than you had ever seen with any black, American woman. And for me, I see myself as the Oprah of Kenya. I see myself as the Oprah of Africa. And I feel like with the podcast that I've started with Lydia, I feel like that could grow to like heights that we haven't, that are unimaginable, things we have not even imagined. Other people I look up to there's a lady called Jackie Aina. She's a YouTuber. She's someone who has been able to take her platform, grow it on social media, and take it beyond social media, which is what I'm trying to do with the store, is how do you then capitalize on the audience that you have grown on social media? Because if my husband is always telling me, if tomorrow Instagram shuts down, what do you have? Where are we now? So that's why I want to try as much as possible to extend beyond Instagram or beyond social media, so I can have something tangible that I can say, this is my product. It's not something that exists on Instagram. Kenyan women that I look up to, well, for today I can say Rachel Ruto, soon to be, but they're watching this, is already First Lady. Love her, prayerful woman. She reminds me so much of my mother. Other women in media really inspire me. Women like Julie Gishuru, Terian Chebet, also Janet Bugwa as well. This is a lady Liz Ntonjira. Women who I see, they also have so many things which are always said about them. Oh, she's having what with her husband. When people on social media are trying to destroy women, it's always her husband this, her husband that. She may not have done anything, but the husband does something, and suddenly Janet Bugwa's husband, they won't even put his name, still someone's husband. And honestly, I think it's disgusting, but I love these women because I feel like they stand for something. They're not the kind who are going to shy away like, oh, people are talking about me, or see what is happening. They just are living their truth. They are living their lives. They are living their lives boldly, and I love that so much. But I definitely want to look into actually working one-on-one with a mentor, because right now the way my life is set up, it's so busy. If I'm not with my husband or my kids, I'm at the shop, or I'm creating content, or I'm at a shoot, or I'm recording the podcast. But I really want to try and carve out time to be able to have that kind of relationship, because I think it could add value to me for sure. What I would consider some highlights of my career. First of all, the main one is this shop. This shop is the highlight of my career, because for me, it was like a dream I've always had in my head. I've always wanted to have a shop from the time like I was a little girl. I love clothes. I love feeling good in clothes. I've always been able to express myself through clothes. So it's something I've always wanted to do. So for me, this has been like the highlight of this year, the highlight of this decade for me, the highlight of like my entire career. And I love the fact that it was once a dream in my head, and then I was like, okay, now how do I make it happen? And my husband can tell you, we've talked about it for like the past 3 years, and I keep saying, yeah, but now is not the right time. Now we have a small baby, and now we have this COVID, and now it's the post-COVID slump, and businesses are struggling. And he just told me, he's like, with every passing day that he's a Kikuyu, by the way, if you can't tell. He's like, with every passing day, you're not making money. By now, imagine, count all those days. If you had opened that other day, how much money would you have made? So I'm always like, okay, babe, yeah, okay. And I just said to put my head to it, and now it's here. And I'm really doing my best to make sure that it's the greatest store in Kenya, in Africa, across the world. I'm going to put my everything into it. Other highlights of my career, I would say, also the podcast, I suppose. This last July, when did we have that experience? I think it was July. When we celebrated our 1 year, we had this huge live experience, and we were able to meet so many of our fans, and it was just an incredible experience. And if more people subscribe and we get to 100K, at least we'll be able to have more events. Also recently, we've just been nominated for the Pulse Live Awards. I've been nominated for Instagram Influencer of the Year. The podcast has been nominated for YouTube Influencer of the Year and Podcast Influencer of the Year. So that's a big deal for us, because it's like it validates our content. It validates what we are trying to do. It validates our conversations and our contribution to the online space. And for us, that's just like, even whether we win or not, we're just so excited. We're just like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God. It's just been beautiful. It's just been amazing. I think on social media, every small thing feels like a highlight to me. All the collaborations I've been able to do, all the brands I've been able to work with, it almost feels like you're doing many jobs at the same time, because by the time you've done this soda brand, then you've done this small brand, then this clothing brand, it's like they're all small little jobs that you get to do and get to see so much of the world. I'm really hoping that this year or maybe next year I'll get to travel because of my work. So far, I've mostly just been doing work in Kenya, so I would love to be able to travel because of it. That would be amazing. For me, the relevance is not something that I actually sit and think about, really I ponder about. What is more important to me than relevance is authenticity, because authenticity will always be relevant. And this is what I attribute, I would say, my social media growth and success to, is that as long as you're authentic, no one else can be you. It's only if you're on social media, for example, and you're only following trends, or if your clothing store is only about trends, then you'll always be struggling to stay relevant, because it's like, oh, that trend was for yesterday. Okay, now we're moving on to this. But if you're authentically yourself, and really what sells on Instagram, or not even Instagram, just social media and in life, is authenticity, being yourself. Being yourself can never go out of style. So for me, whenever I go online, I post whatever it is that I'm feeling like posting. In my store, I'll stock whatever it is that I feel like stocking. Of course, I take feedback from people, and I ensure that at least I'm taking in the feedback. What do people want to see? What do people want to buy? What do people want to wear? Things like that. But as long as I'm true to myself, that can stand the test of time. People like, for example, I don't know, Will Smith. Will Smith has been around for ages, but Will Smith is just himself, and he'll always just be Will Smith. And Will Smith himself can never go out of style, And I feel like that authenticity, that just being yourself, yourself. Even if I'm 60, I can be a 60-year-old influencer, by the way. Msicheze na mimi. I'll be a 60-year-old content creator, by the way. So for me, I try my best to just be myself. Yeah, I'm grateful that at least my platform allows me to interact with so many different people. So like with my content, usually I will just post about what I feel like posting about, but where I see there's a need. For example, recently on my platform, I have been posting a lot about contraception because I saw in the papers that only 10% of Kenyan women are on contraception. And I was like, how in the age of media and resources and you know, like, is it that? So I mean, I feel so passionately about this because of course you will go out there, you will have the sex that you know leads to the making of the baby, and you make the baby and you'll still come and say, oh my God, I'm shocked that I got pregnant. But are you shocked? Are we really shocked? Because we know how babies are made, you know? And so for me, it's like I want as many women as possible. If you're not on contraception, let it be because you have decided you want to have a baby, or you've decided that you don't want the contraception. But let it not be because you don't have the information, because some people maybe just don't have access to the information. And sometimes we can get in this like middle class, upper class place of just saying, you know, but everyone knows, but maybe some people don't know. Because sometimes someone will message me and say, I've never heard about contraception. So I really want women to have access to that kind of information. And when they give me feedback, I'm able to tell them like, okay, let's talk about this particular thing, so that even my content remains relevant. What I would say to a woman who wants to get into my space, I would say, for me, success and happiness and peace in life starts with being able to find what you love to do, what you're good at, and then being able to make money from those things, from something that you love to do and something that you're good at. Because if you're able to make money from your passions and your purpose, then you're in a fantastic place. And I feel so fortunate to be there, because I mean, then you don't ever feel like you're waking up like, oh, I have to go to the office, oh, I need to do this. I find if you find something you love to do and you find something that you're good at and you're able to make money from those things, then fantastic. And then you have more than just a job, because there are people who have jobs and there are people who have careers, you know, and you want to have a career, something that speaks for you. Like, what legacy do you want to leave? What impact do you want to leave? And for me, when my son and my daughter see me, I want them to be like, Mommy lived confidently and boldly in her truth. You know, she helped other people. She always had best intentions. She was kind to others. I'm always telling them, be kind to others, be kind, because everyone is going through a lot of problems out here, you know. But yeah, I would also encourage people to not listen to the naysayers around them, because anytime you ask someone for their opinion, they are giving you their opinion based off of their own limitations, their own experiences, their own ideas of what is possible or what is not possible. But that is not necessarily true for you. So even me, when I wanted to open a shop, there are so many people who said, but in this climate, you know how many shops have closed down after COVID? You know how many whatever people are struggling? But I was like, the vision is in me, you know. And when God puts a vision in you, He didn't put it in you and your mom and your sister and your best friend. It's in you that it's in you. So I tell people, you focus on what it is. Of course, take, you know, feedback from others, but take it with a pinch of salt, you know, and just go out there and do what it is you feel like doing. Don't listen to people who tell you, oh, this one is not for women, or it's only women from a certain place who do this or whatever. Do whatever the hell you want to do and make that money, babe. Make that money. So you can find me on social media. My own personal platforms are Murugi Munyi everywhere, which is Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. You can find me even on Snapchat. I'm also there. You can follow our page as well, which is a beautiful boutique store which sells modern accessories and clothing for women, aged any age. You can literally be 18 and you can be 65. You can shop at our store. That's at Wild by Murugi. You can find us on Instagram, and you can find us on TikTok as well, coming soon. Also follow our podcast page, TMI Podcast KE, on YouTube, across podcast platforms, and on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter as well. Looking forward to connecting with you.